Thank you, Mr. Principal Deputy Speaker. Can I rise to support the motion, but not the amendment? And I do support the motion, but I do think it is unfortunate that once again in this House we seem to be playing out the arguments that are being had behind closed doors in the OFM-DFM department, and I just can't understand why they can't get it together. This is a very important piece of legislation. It would be if we could get it on the floor of the House. Our view is very strongly that it should extend to everyone, and that we can deal with some of the issues outlined by Mr. Moutry by having exemptions, by ensuring that that we don't get into a ridiculous situation where an 8-year-old would be allowed to buy a packet of cigarettes or whatever else. This is done all the time, and it's very easy in legislation to deal with issues of exemptions. Nobody is asking that we go into the realms of the ridiculous. What we are asking is that we can ensure that young people are not willfully discriminated against. And I have to say I'm very glad to say that we're at least agreed that we can get to a stage where older people will be provided some protection in law in terms of discrimination, because it is clear that we need to be very focused on providing the most strident protection for older people in our community and our society. But there's no reason why that can't be done alongside providing protection for minors, for people who are under 18. In evidence collated by the Children's Rights Alliance in GB, that's highlighted unequal treatment of children in a range of service areas. Some of the examples that they found were children being refused access to shops without any justification, being refused entry to services such as libraries, leisure centres, museums, being refused access to buses and treated less favourably by bus drivers. I don't see any difficulty in legislating to try and stop that, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We're all guilty of this, and the media is guilty of this, and politicians are guilty of this, of stereotyping young people as antisocial troublemakers. We're very good at it. Every time you open a newspaper, you see words like yob and thugs and all this kind of stuff, when in fact what we need to be doing, instead of trying to criminalise, instead of trying to sensationalise and stereotype around the difficulties that many young people face, we need to embrace young people and ensure that they can become full members of our community. And if we say in this House that we're not prepared to take the advice of the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child, that we're not prepared to take the advice of the Equality Commission or the Northern Ireland Children's Commissioner, if we say that, then what are we saying to young people? We're saying that you don't really count. You're not an equal citizen in this part of the world. I don't think that's good enough. I think sometimes up here we need to remember that we represent everyone in this community, not just the people who were entitled and allowed to vote for us. But talking about the new UN Committee on the Rights of the Child, they said that the UK should take all necessary measures to ensure that cases of discrimination against children in all sectors of society are addressed effectively, including with disciplinary, administrative or necessary penal sanctions. They go on to say that there is no reason why children and young people could be included in this kind of legislation. Further independent research entitled "Making Older People Equal, Reforming the Law on Access to Services in Northern Ireland" has highlighted that although the report focused on the positions and the position of older people, it was of the view that any reform of the law in this area in Northern Ireland must benefit people of every age. We're hearing it from everybody that we ask, Mr. Principal Deputy Speaker. I could quote you figures where almost 9 in 10 young people in Northern Ireland said they were treated with disrespect because of their age. 67% of them had been treated suspiciously by staff in a shop. 57% of them were told to move on with standing with friends. And 8 in 10 felt that the media portrayed young people negatively. Can I just say in closing, Mr. Principal Deputy Speaker, I would hope that rather than coming into this chamber and having to put motions down and people having to have this argument across the chamber, it would be much better if the office of the First and Deputy First Minister could agree the things that were supposedly agreed during the period running up to the programme for government, and we didn't have to have this public row over and over again. I hope that the motion is carried, Mr. Principal Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Mr. McNesbitt.